What is up, everyone? Pate Smith, McClenny Mosey and Associates. You may be saying to yourself, I thought I was watching Listen to This Bull. You are. We're flipping it up. I'm going to be hosting the show today, asking Matt and Remington questions. Matt's got some sort of new fangled claim institute. He completely switched his life around. Now he's at C3. He's got this deal. Remington's going to be there. We're going to ask a lot of questions. If you have questions, put them in the comments. We can see them there. We got Matt and Remington coming on right now. Remington's still looking salty from that Ohio State loss in the national championship. But yeah, how's it going, guys? Matt, that your beard's looking mighty stout there.
Stout. Yeah, that's the right word. I like voluptuous better. That's a good one. Yeah. Thanks for having us on the show, Pate. We really appreciate it. This is great.
Much appreciated.
I usually have a fancier background and a camera set up and stuff when I host shows, but today we're coming live from the MMA Dome up here in 1415 Louisiana, 429. So I don't have the entire setup with me, just this whiteboard here. Any questions?
Ohio State.
I think that's.
Hey, I don't like to.
I'm never.
Hey, man. Ooh. Hey, I don't stay salty with things that are over 2 months old. We can talk about Cowboys and Indians all we want, but I look forward in life. That's what I have to do.
I'm just happy to be somewhat a part of these conversations because I have no idea what's really going on.
I taste some salt in the air, Pate.
I think that we scored more points in the second quarter than you scored in the entire game. But let's not relive that. Let's relive it. Let's get on to what we're here to do, and that's talk about insurance claims. I know we've already touched on the portions that you guys wanted me to, which was male facial hair. I hit that already. Now time for the good content.
There you go.
The only notes I got on this was make sure you talk about how good our facial hair is and our grooming, and that's amazing. So I want to get into the insurance claims portion. So Matt, I recently saw on LinkedIn and Facebook and every other social media platform, you now are, is it Insurance Claims Institute? You're a dean there? No. Dean? Insurance Claims, insurance. Go. I'm just let you tell us what it is.
You probably should, yeah. National Claims Institute. And it's not just me. Remington's a part of this too.
Right, I like that. I appreciate the invite. Thanks for excluding me. That's fine though. We'll continue.
We did have a meeting on that, and there was it was unanimous.
I got blackballed from the National Claims Institute. That's fine because announcing today, I'm actually going to be a dean at the Intergalactic Claims Institute.
I've heard of it. So, you guys are spread a little thin, though, I hear.
Yeah, so we're going to, not only concentrate on insurance claims nationally or internationally or globally, but also like universally. So, if it's a claim in the universe, we want to talk about that. But may I digress? So tell me about it, guys. National Claims Institute. What is this, and what are you guys doing?
Well, Pate, you use the word dean, and that's exactly what Matt is. He's the dean of what I say NCI, National Claims Institute. And I'll let the dean take it away on the description of exactly what this is.
I was actually looking forward to hearing what you were going to say. But so the National Claims Institute is a brick and mortar and online place.
It's an institute.
Network. It's an institute. It is a school for everything and anything that has to do with first-party property claims practices for anyone and everyone that is involved in first-party property claims as well. Nice. So that means contractors, public adjusters, insurance adjusters, engineers, ladder assists, attorneys. Pate, you could enroll. There's plenty to talk about here. Anything and everything that has to do with
enroll.
Yeah, we're gonna teach you how to be a better host for podcasts.
Olivia, as the host, I know that I don't have access on the dashboard like I normally do. Can I like pull them off and on as I want, or is that outside of my duties?
Just give me like a little sign and I'll do it for you.
Gotcha. Love that. Okay. So, so next question is, so we got an overview. What all are we going to be able to learn in the National Claims Institute?
I think the real question is, what can't you learn?
Okay. Hit me with that. What can we not learn in the National Claims Institute?
Well, we're probably not going to get too much into galactic affairs for claims. So we'll leave that up to you with the Intergalactic Claims Institute, but everything else. So what we're going to be teaching is for contractors, every aspect of claims processing that a contractor is allowed to do, how to go about doing that part of the job. For public adjusters, that would be everything that a public adjuster is supposed to do, beginning to end. We plan on
which is a
having,
highly debated topic.
It's highly debated.
I would say that's a highly debated topic.
On what a contractor can do versus a public adjuster, or what a public adjuster is supposed to do?
I would say that it is what a contractor can do state to state, and then what a public adjuster should or shouldn't do, or can and can't. Gosh, I mean, in Florida, we could get into this deep on can and can't, right?
Funny you mentioned Florida.
Yep. So, Frank Dalton and I have gone down this rabbit hole drastically deeper than we probably should have on very, let's say, nuanced points on what a Florida PA likely should and shouldn't do, and what paperwork that they should and shouldn't be allowed to turn in to the carrier on behalf of the policyholder that could potentially actually, we got into it a hair on this show a while back with that attorney that was here from Merlin, from Florida.
Yeah.
Man, who was that guy? I liked that guy, and he really fielded some tough questions that he probably didn't know he was going to get.
Well, before you go too far, since you mentioned Frank Dalton, I want you to know that Coastal Claims, his company C2, is also an owner of this, as a partial owner. C3 is also an owner of this in Remington. His company. What is the name of that company?
It's Law? There you go. No, it's not the Huggins Law, but it's a couple initials, and then
Okay.
that's all. So that's what it's going to be. I wanted to emphasize something, that this is, and I know Matt brushed on it, but this is a brick and mortar institute that's going to be year round. It's not a situation where it's a 1 week, camp or a 3-day course. And then, we rent out a piece of property and we're going to have it for a week. It is brick and mortar, year round, classes going every single month. Every once in a while, obviously there'll be weeks where we don't have classes and take a break, but it is brick and mortar, year round, classes going every single month on different types of topics that we believe the industry needs to be educated about. And speaking of education, this is not something where, I know we named Frank, we named obviously Matt and I that are putting this together. This is nearly 500 years of adjusting and insurance experience being put into what we are going to be educating people with. So it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 20 years or if you've been doing this for 2 months. I think everybody who is a part and signs up and enrolls is going to benefit from it.
Yeah, I mean, I call Matt all the time on, Georgia specific questions, or if I run into a weird policy. Sometimes I'm driving and have Matt look at something, and then it's just I misread a word. Matt, do you remember that?
Yes, I do. That was a big claim to misread a word on too.
We hadn't signed the thing yet. I'm driving down the road and I get this policy, and I don't remember what the word was, but I was like, God, I mean, I'm reading it on my phone and obviously trying not to kill my kids. And I'm like, Matt, look at this real quick. I need to, because, obviously distracted driving is dangerous.
It had something to do with time frames. I don't really remember either.
It was a limit. It was a policy limitation. And I was like, dude, am I reading this right? Have you ever seen this? And you were like, I don't remember. It was literally like one letter off. And I was like, oh God, that makes sense.
Yeah. Now it was very similar to teaching my 9-year-old how to read. It was very, very similar situation.
Crisis averted.
We got a question on the screen I'm going to answer real quick. How long are the courses expected to be? Anthony, I appreciate the question. It depends on the course. And they're not all going to be brick and mortar. We are going to have online as well. We're going to have a membership portal where there's going to be videos available for free if you are subscribed to this. This is something that's going to be built over time, though. So I don't know if that subscription portal is going to be available right away, but it depends on the course. Our first course is going to be 1 week long. It should be at the end of July or the first week of August. We haven't been able to set the date 100% yet, but that first course is actually going to be on the proper residential inspection for composition shingle roofs.
Oh, wow.
We're going to get into how to document it, what to look for, the intricacies of hail and wind, what is actually worth filing. We're going to get into the programs used and the third-party software. This is actually sponsored. This particular course is sponsored by Hail Trace and Company Cam, which are going to help us set everybody up to have access to both of those things during the course so that we can show you by the time that you're done with this 1 week course, how to determine if you have a valid claim or not and be able to say 100%, this is a worthwhile claim. Let's file it before you even get off the roof.
I like that.
Sending your entire sales team, if you're a contractor, to learn whether or not that is a valid or a worthwhile claim, whether or not you're going to end up hurting the policyholder or not by filing something. I think that's really worthwhile for everyone that's involved in that process. So this is going to be something that we're really going to get into detail on. If you know me or anything that I do, I don't skim the surface on things. I really get detailed so that everybody knows. The goal here is to eliminate 3 to 5 years worth of experience in time, compress it into 1 week so that you can bypass all that learning curve that you would normally have to go through. And there's going to be a certification at the end, very similar to the Hague residential composition roof certification.
I like that. So this is subscription based. Is this like the OnlyFans of insurance learning?
It's a little similar. You know a little bit about this, I'm sure. So how does it work for your page?
What page?
Your Pate's OnlyFans? Don't you have one?
Oh, no, not yet. No.
Oh, you're working on that.
Yeah, I'm doing it only claims, and it's going to be nothing but like large loss picks, tips on, getting that type of thing. And then you can direct message me for like 99 cents a question. I just think, only claims. It's the future. Need help with setting that up. So if you're really into tech, slide into my DMs. But
can you request specific photos in this only claims?
You can request a lot, whether you'll get it or not. Right. Oh, I want to see a pic of some trapezoidal standing seam. I got you, dog. Check this out.
I prefer our panel.
Yeah. So what was the deciding factor in when to do this? I mean, there's a lot of different courses out there. Cal Spoon's got one. Andrew Barron's has one on Xactimate. I know up in Nebraska, my man Steve Shannon has a class, a couple different classes I think you can take, and then I think there's a couple out there.
There's classes everywhere, right? There's little individual pieces of the puzzle that you can get all over the place, but there isn't anything that brings it all together.
Right.
There's nothing. This will be, as far as I'm aware, the only place that does bring everything together, at least for the plaintiff side, the policyholder side of the insurance gambit. We'll offer some courses for insurance adjusters and even defense attorneys at some point, but right now we will be the only source to be able to go and have access to all the information on the policyholder side for everybody involved in it. We're going to bring in experts for things. Obviously, we don't know everything. So we're going to have a lot of courses that you're already seeing out there are going to be able to offer their courses through NCI. I've had plenty of conversations with multiple people that already have their own course somewhere else, and they're more than happy to bring in and offer their courses through NCI, or even present at our brick and mortar if you'd like to have an in-person class with them. So, but as far as the public adjuster courses go, this one is particularly my baby. And this is something that I wouldn't mind giving a little bit more information on. For the public adjusters, we're looking at levels. There's level one, your absolute basics. This is what it takes to get started as a public adjuster from day one, what it is you need to hit the ground running. And our level one is going to be a 2-week course. It may end up even being a little bit longer than that. I'm trying to boil it down as low as possible. Level 2 will get into specifics with larger claims. Coursework on large losses, flat roofs, large commercial fires, commercial policies, really touching base on that. Level 2 should only be a 1 week. Level 3 is going to get into some deep policy issues. Well, let's just call it deep policy issues. I like that way that actually came out. That sounded really nice. Deep policy issues.
I think that you guys should have like supplemental specific classes. One thing that I'm seeing overseen wrong right now, and it literally, nothing breaks my heart worse than like walking into, say, like a school built in like 1972, and it's a roof claim with slight water intrusion, and then they're like, oh yeah, we got this, like 900,000, we got this like $1.3 million roof estimate, blah blah blah. And I say, well, have you guys done any asbestos testing on the water intrusion? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, yeah, so this is like,
or they just say, well, it was built in the 90s, so we didn't have to.
My thing is, like, I feel like I can walk into some of these and like, this thing is full of asbestos, and people are not adequately indemnifying the insured because they're unaware of what adequate testing measures would be. And so you're seeing what should be, even as sometimes has an 8-figure claim, discussed as maybe like a low 7-figure claim because lack of adequate testing on,
Absolutely.
asbestos. And that's something small, but
that's not small at all. Asbestos can make a huge difference on a small loss. We've done videos specifically on fires that involved asbestos, and a small fire in one part of the house could lead to an entire gutting of the house if there's asbestos or soot that is going through the walls. There's plenty to look into. We do plan on having IICRC courses held on premises. We have a second building that we are going to abuse tremendously to have losses to actually go and inspect. We plan to have live water losses, maybe even allow mold growth and have some remediation done on the property. We're going to have some fun with this. It's funny that you mentioned supplementing courses. I talked to John Dye yesterday, and he's agreed to handle some supplemental courses through NCI as well, online based for what he's doing. But we plan on getting into all of this, everything.
I love
think
that.
of it. We're going to do that. I don't know how we're going to get it all done, but it's going to happen.
There was so much as a public adjuster that I was like, man, I wish I would have known that year one, or at least even known to research, right? And I can tell you that I think for me that was semi-deleterious to my growth in the field, was because I didn't have that area. The way I know Matt is because I consumed every bit of online content and public adjusting that I could find, and Matt put out online content. I was like, the first time I ever met him, I was like, what up, bro? Sick video on the roof snake. And he was like, what? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. That was our very first conversation.
We were at Top Golf, and I was like, damn, roof snake's here. Let me go holler at this guy real quick.
I was so embarrassed by that video too, because the audio quality was horrible.
I will tell you, I know many people who have used that video to have the repair portion overturned. So whether you, I think I did, as a matter of fact, as a PA.
I actually got a copy of that video from an adjuster a month ago. They sent me a copy of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, that will remain in the, I guess, halls of claims. Wizardry, if you want to that video, because it goes and it discusses, a little bit what is or isn't wind damage, and then how, you actually can't repair it. And I think these are, if you made a public adjusting book or even a insurance claim loss book or structural damage book, I mean, the facts that you can derive out of that particular video, are vast. And I think that's why it was so good. Was I think you did the video to create knowledge about a particular method of repair that they're suggesting, but it was much greater in terms of lack of repairability, because because the roof snake is so low to the roof surface, right? So in theory, if that can't do it, then the question becomes what can. And I think when you extrapolate the findings from that particular video and show, and then add, reason behind it, it's really powerful. And I think that's what I'm excited for the National Claims Institute, is because a lot of guys who I, absolutely respect, you, Barron's, Frank, Remington, they're working to put this particular thing together. And I'm guessing like you guys are like, okay, this will make money, but you're not looking at it as a money making avenue. No. You're looking at it as an opportunity to provide good information, which, I mean, Barron's and I have talked about infinitely. The issue with our industry is lack of adequate information. And I mean, you got to be deep in the game to get everything, you need to be. I mean, I'm deep in the game. I've like given my life to this for 5 years. Right. Mm-hmm. And you shouldn't have to have such a infinite commitment to something to be able to get the access to the people you need, right? Like now I can just call people up and ask questions, but 3 years ago, I mean, where would I do? Like Google, and then, Google leads you to nothing, and you're like on page 15 and you're like, oh, this is it. This is the document I needed.
Yeah. I mean, you get a lot of misinformation out there on a lot of the forums that are in this industry. States are different from one state to the next. So if you ask a question and someone answers with something that might work in whatever state they're in, and you try that, you might ruin that claim because you didn't know any better. Right. This is very pertinent for a lot of different states that have very, very different rules. So we're going to get into specific state information as well. But overall, we're going to be very not state specific. Hey,
James is seeing what I'm doing. He's like, why is Pate playing on the computer?
Not working. Hey, Pate, you brought up a good point. You said, hey, I learned things in the third year of adjusting that I wish I would have known in the first year, right? It's a live and learn type situation, like in a lot of industries. It doesn't matter what you are, a doctor or a lawyer, whoever it might be. This is that opportunity to not have to live and learn, not have to do the 3 or 5 years of adjusting claims to figure things out. This is come down, sit into the classes, and you get to learn the mistakes. And it's not going to be a bunch of battle stories, so to speak, right?
Yeah, this is not war stories.
But it's not war stories, but it's to teach individuals who want to learn that, look, it doesn't take 3 years to learn all this. We can compact this in a week, 2 weeks, whatever that course might be, and for them to learn it. And like I said before, I mean, how many claims have you been involved in, Pate? Just ballpark in your career?
Probably close to 3,000.
3,000 claims. Do you still learn things every single week in this industry?
Probably every day.
Every day.
Definitely. So
that just clarifies that this is for everybody. Somebody who's handled 3,000 claims. I'm probably in that same boat, thousands of claims, and I learn things every single day. So like you said, it doesn't matter if it's 2 months or 20 years, I can guarantee you're going to learn some things.
You're going to learn today.
You're going to learn today. And it's not a money maker, man. Like you said, it's not doing the money. We're serving the industry through education. And education needs to happen in this industry.
Yeah, more likely than not, I'll make less money doing this than I did as a public adjuster. Ultimately, I want to make sure that we get justice.
For sure. I mean, it's like that one movie. It's like those that can't do teach, and those that can't teach gym. I don't remember what that was. Maybe like old school, but
dodgeball, maybe.
I don't know.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge anything.
Is there a gym teacher for NCI?
That's Remington's role.
Yeah, that's me, man. We're just gonna do heavy lifting. That's it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm down for those courses. Or if
Hey,
you guys
we're
want
actually, this is cool. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt. We're actually registered as a research facility as well. I get to do a lot of fun stuff with different roofs. I'm even considering building a wind tunnel at some point.
I love that.
To be able to do our own data testing on materials and things. I've got quite a bit of people in the wings ready to teach a lot of the engineering stuff. So I know APEC Engineering is really excited about being involved in a lot of stuff. I spoke with another engineer last week that's going to be on the show in the next few weeks to talk about windows and temporary openings and all that kind of stuff. All of these things, we skim the surface on the podcast and the videos that we put out that are 10, 15 minutes long. There's so much more information that goes into this. You could get the bullet points and just live by cliff notes if you want. Or you can learn the real deal and actually take your job and roll seriously and become a professional, learn every aspect of it so that you can come up with those cliff notes yourself for individual files. There's a lot that can be done. I think ultimately, if this works out, as an industry, we're going to do so much more.
I think that something like this was needed. And I mean, obviously, I hate to see you not being as active as a public adjuster doing this because I think you're really good at that. But I think that, you have such an ability to provide value for the industry. And I think that's awesome. So we've got public adjusting. What's going to be there for the contractors?
Well, that first course is a really good one for the contractors. It was really designed with them in mind so that we have everybody that's doing residential inspection is roughly looking at the same thing, public adjuster, contractor, estimator. So that very first course is really designed for them. But we're even going to teach how to read a deck page, because I think contractors should be able to read a deck page and see roughly whether or not there's something that needs to be thrown out or not. And if they think that there's coverage, then we'll teach them what to say to the policyholder that doesn't cross the line and get individuals and professionals involved if necessary. But we're going to get into a lot of aspects on what is likely an insurance claim versus just what is a retail job for you. If you're going to go out and look at roofs all the time or interior water losses, what is going to be worthwhile? What is worth waiting the additional time it takes to get paid from an insurance claim? What's worth just doing it the old-fashioned way?
Will you do a chapter that's very short, and it's called Wind and Hail Exclusions also mean hurricane?
Well, that's wind, right?
Right. Yeah. Apparently, a lot of people miss the hurricane wind link up there, and that's semi-deleterious when they do mitigation. And they're like, oh, I just didn't see a hurricane. I just saw wind and that's problematic.
Yeah. Also, paid ACV versus RCV at the end of the job. That could be problematic as well for contractors when they should be on notice of what they're getting themselves into, as well as the policyholder.
There's so much information the policyholder needs to be aware of when there's a claim involved. The policies are disparate. They're very, very different. They're not all the same ISO forms that they used to be. How many times have you had a brand new? Oh, it's crazy. Attorneys that are suddenly jumping into the insurance world because a friend of theirs got screwed by an insurance company or something, and they're trying to do it as if it's a traditional contract law. There's a lot that goes into these. It's completely different. So they're all assuming that they still have enough time, and the suit limitation period's expired. And they wait like 5 months before they realize that's what occurred. What's going on?
I think you should do an entire day on suits against us, suit limitations, and maybe, one thing you and I talked about one time was, you can still get a claim paid after an SAU date, but the leverage typically is gone. And I don't say this as like a person or a law firm trying to drive business. I say this as a person who, I guess, goal is to protect the rights of a policyholder, that at that moment that's gone, a portion of those rights are vanished as well. And the leverage that is then attached to those rights. And,
Leverage is
you know,
big thing.
Yeah. And I feel that this isn't really talked about in the industry. It's like, oh, well, why is it going to go to suit, right? And many times it's not that the file is ready to go to suit on a impasse issue. It's on a preservation of rights by the policyholder issue to prevent loss of rights. And I think that's an important thing that I know that you and I have spoken about. Barron's and I have spoken about. I haven't really talked about it with Frank. I've talked about it with Remington a good bit as well. But yeah,
I think that's probably something Remington might end up teaching at some point. It's definitely an attorney-led course, it sounds like. But there's definitely some good points there, because if you're coming up on the end of that suit limitation period in the policy, the carrier starts loosening up suddenly, because they know that if they make it appear that they're going to work with you, that you're likely to stop pursuing getting an attorney. You
and
might
I've seen
think,
this so
I'll
many
be
times.
fine, they're finally working with me. And then that suit limitation period expires, and suddenly they lock back up on you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Okey doke.
The what?
The okey doke.
The okey doke. I like
Oh yeah.
okey doke.
the-
That's a new video title.
Yeah, you're getting played.
Remy-
I mean, that's what you're saying at the end of the day. But
And
those
another
legal
important-
elements. No, what are you going to say, Pate?
And another important part of this is you guys practice in the state of Georgia. So not only can you have a 1-year time limitation, but you also have a 60-day for extra contractuals to maintain leverage for what is it, 1.5? Is it 50% or double there, Remington? Is it a 50%?
Yeah, it's 50% of the claim. So if it's a $500,000 claim, you can get 250 tacked on.
But
and people,
you're not likely to get that in reality,
but
because you cannot sue for most of the unfair claim settlement practice items. There's no private cause of action. There's a lot of states like that. It's not just Georgia.
Yeah, but the point is putting people on notice that
Yeah.
there is a potential of getting that.
Yeah,
Like
if
I
you
think
don't give them
that
that
the
60
time
days.
limits that Pate's talking about, and making sure you get it to an attorney to send out this legal document or correspondence to the carrier to set it up, because I think it goes back to leverage.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
preserving the
100%.
leverage with that. Yeah.
dude, I mean, if you like look at it and think of it like this, and like let's use Georgia as an example because you guys are Georgia claim wizards. Like think of it like this: hail claim, okay, and like let's say the contractor gets to it 60 days after, so you're talking 2
You need
months.
to erase that other. You need to erase that other stuff on there.
Hey,
On the board.
Can I finish my thought before you interrupt? I
Okay,
feel like
go for it. Go for it.
We're not married, Remington. You don't just get to cut me off. So
That's suspect.
contractor, it's 2 months. The claim's filed. They don't get out there for another 2 weeks. It takes 2 weeks. So now we're on month 3 before we get an estimate. Let's say they open minimal coverage. Contractor and insured push for a reinspect. So now we're at month 4. Oh, but wait, there's a contractual limit to a year. Oh, but wait, you're in the state of Georgia. So now month 2, so we're month 12 is, let's say, when that suit has to be filed, but it has to be actually given notice to an attorney by month 10. Oh my gosh. And guess what? Attorneys aren't mind readers and able just to put things down on paper. So it probably needs to be an additional 30 days. So like month 9. So like, if you're in the state of Georgia, like this is your period max, and really maybe month 8 if you want to be fair on a large loss. And right? Am I right, Remington?
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
and
you gotta get
hey,
experts
let's just
involved.
throw in the engineer inspection as well after that reinspection. I mean, we're our backs are against the wall, you know?
So
Top of that, you're in a
here,
state without any
here
time
is
limitation
your-
for the carrier at all.
what?
You're going to
Your
push it up.
90-day window in the month of Georgia. If you want to realistically give your client a chance to maintain leverage and somebody that's a great attorney like Remington do an adequate job at, even a chance at a pre-suit demand negotiation, right? Like maybe Remington would like to do some sort of pre-suit work. Well, if you get it to them here or here, like dude can't do anything in this time frame. Like he can do something here. And the problem is like as an industry, and I think you guys should probably bring this up, this isn't talked about, right? Like everybody wants to run down to like month 11 and be like, I'll kick it to attorney. Well, when Remington gets it at month 11, he's got this amount of time, which is about enough time to put together all the like ridiculous emails, text messages, like reports, re-estimates, figure it out. Maybe he has to send out his own disinterested third-party estimator in 30 days, and he's lost his leverage completely. And so when you're talking about why are some of these claims going so long in suit, when you remove that leverage and then he only gets this amount of time, I mean,
it's important, man. It's important.
Yeah, it's giving these guys the opportunity to get their fair shot to give the policyholder a chance.
Absolutely. And these legal elements that you're talking about, we will be discussing those at NCI, including EUOs, depositions, all these other legal elements that, it's you learn because you do it. I've done a couple of depositions. I think I know what I'm doing. No, let's talk about it. Let's roll up the sleeves and get in the nitty gritty and figure out the best way to take an examination for the policyholder, explain the EUO and how you have to perform one before suit's filed, as well as, because if you're an adjuster, if you're a contractor and you're representing policyholders in a sense of estimating as a contractor or looking at damages or reading policy as a PA, you're going to get deposed. You need to learn the tactics and angles and the best way to represent your policyholder in that actual depot itself. So there are legal elements that we're definitely gonna be hitting on in classes.
I'm actually after this, I'm working with James. I'm like currently learning how to prep for engineer depots.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you taking the deposition or are you prepping your engineer for a depot?
We are prepping the engineer, but we're currently looking at our engineer report, facts, picks, etc., to come up with the questions for both sides. Yeah, but I'm learning with James today. I'm excited because it's like, I don't know, something new.
Dude, that sounds like a blast. This is the one thing I wish that I was. Wish I had a law degree on, just to be able to depose somebody. That honestly sounds like a hell of a lot of fun. Put them in the hot seat.
And then when Matt sits through one EUO, I get a phone call 5 minutes later. And it's like, I cannot believe you're an attorney. I don't know why you must hate your job. So,
we just got a big claim, big question. We just got a big question come in from Scott Douglas. Can you toss? There we go. Loving that. Okay. Pate's presumption is based on a storm date. Is there any credence to date of discovery? So that's going to be part one of this. After all, who really knows if said storm was in fact the date of loss? Oh, part two, and this is going to get into something that Steve Patrick and I debated on stage once in Chicago. After all, a leak in a pipe doesn't necessarily reveal itself right away either. And the date of discovery is what is considered as the date of loss. Okay, so let's do part one on Pate's presumption is based on a storm date. Is there any credence to date of discovery? Who wants that one? And then we can all hop on this bandwagon after that. Matt, go ahead.
I think that there's actually, I could argue both sides of this, to be honest. Data discovery isn't in a policy. There's nothing written in a policy for that kind of a thing. There's only data loss. And when you go into the conditions section of the policy, it tells you what it is you have to perform in order to gain coverage. And if you don't do those things, they literally don't have to provide any coverage. And one of those things is to name the date of loss. Now, it is to the best of your knowledge, though, It doesn't have to be 100% accurate if you're not 100% aware of it. So
Or about.
On or about is good. I've definitely seen the language that says to the best of your ability. I've seen to the best of your knowledge in policies. This is what the policyholder is supposed to do when they call the claim in, when they notify the insurer of the claim. But
or the policyholder's representative if they're involved that early. Yeah.
So if they file a proof of loss, which most policies are going to require, even if it's just required from a request from the carrier, if you're filing a proof of loss, then you have to prove that it happened on that date and give your evidence as part of the package. So you'd have to give all the evidence to suggest why you believe it's that date. I don't know if you can really get away with having a data discovery anymore if you're filing a proof. If you honestly don't know and you had no information when you filed the claim, filing on a date of discovery saying this is when I found it, we don't yet know because we haven't gotten our experts involved yet to determine when the data loss is, I think that's acceptable.
And here's my, it matters. And that's like, it
massively.
It matters about the facts. And let me say this. Let's just use Hurricane Irma for an example. Everybody left a day or 2 days before Hurricane Irma hit Southwest Florida. Did they file claims when they came back a week later and said, oh, the data loss was September the 17th because that was the date of discovery? No, everybody knows it was September 9th, September 11th. That was the data loss. Versus, let's say we are married, Pate, and you and I go to the Bahamas for 2 weeks.
That's a horrible
image. And when we come back from the Bahamas, there's a pipe burst and and our kitchen is 4 inches of water. We don't know actually that data loss like you would with a hurricane event. That's when you would, I think data discovery might come into play. So I think it matters is difference with the facts.
So here's a question. How rough would it be if, so this is why a policyholder advocate is very useful in these scenarios. I'm guessing you guys have occasionally ran into policies where with water losses, it said must be reported within 48 hours of the water loss. Has anybody ran into this?
I have, especially on some mortgage place policies. I'm seeing that a lot.
Yeah. So, I think that on that time frame, Steve Patrick and I debated this for like 30 minutes impromptu in Chicago one time, probably like 2 or 3 years ago. I'm a staunch supporter that date of loss is necessary. And he didn't say that it wasn't, but he said the carrier should pay for it during the policy period, which I completely agree. But how can you prove it without data loss? And then there's the second portion of it where it's likely in the policy provisions that to make a claim, a data loss must be given or to, a claim to be paid.
Right. I mean, you can give your best guess and say that you're making an assumption, but you're having someone come in when you file a claim. You're notifying them of the damages, not necessarily of how it occurred and when it occurred when you file a claim. That's what the proof of loss is for, is to specify, okay, we've done all of our own investigation, and this is what we believe, and here's all of our evidence and why. The carrier is going to send out their own investigators, and they're going to determine what they think the date of loss is and what the cause of loss is. Sometimes the carriers are weird and they refuse to change the data loss to match what their causation expert determined, or change the cause of loss. Maybe they're saying it's vandalism and not wind, and they refuse to change the cause of loss. Come on, you can change the cause of loss. It's not set in stone. So if new information comes out, you can adapt the claim because you've only filed for the damages. It's the same damages. There's no reason to file the same claim. But I think I agree with you here, though, Pate. I think that a data discovery is something you could probably get away with when you file the claim, but it isn't going to stick through the whole thing. You're not going to go all the way to litigation with a data discovery acting as a data loss, most likely. What happens when you get in front of a judge and they say, when did the loss occur? The carrier says, well, we believe it occurred 3 years ago and the suit limitation period was 2 years old, but your data discovery is 1.5 years. What does the judge usually stick to?
Well, the judge is going to use his best determination. And if the loss did happen 3 years ago, suit limitations is 2 years, he's going to throw it out. More than likely. He's going to throw it out.
If they're going to throw it out, then there's your answer. Yeah, data discovery is dangerous.
Pate, you had a question or statement?
MK just texted me. She said, if we did get married, would we go by Huggins Smith, Smith Huggins, or Huggins Smith?
It depends on which one of them is closest to her in the bed at night.
No. If Remington and I got married,
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Man, that totally went like this.
I feel like Huggins Smith has a good ring to it.
Hey, the hat likes Huggins Smith, but you know what? We can flip a coin. I'm actually, when I have my first child, if it is a male, the first name will be Smith. So I like Smith Huggins too, which is kind of crazy.
God, is that true? That'd be sick.
That is true. It's a true story. So
I tried to name my first kid Kermit.
What if
My wife didn't like
your son was an attorney, and then what if we had a law firm and it was Smith Huggins at Smith Huggins, or Smith Huggins at Huggins Smith?
He would just walk in there and everybody be like, man, this whole entire firm is named
after
and last name.
It's such an attorney name.
That dude
sounds like two threes in one.
That dude in middle school would be like, what's up? Yeah, I'm Huggins Smith, and your dad named his law firm after me. So, there's that.
They would pull that.
Teachers. They're going to think it's backwards. Wherever the comment is, they're going to say, somebody put this in wrong.
Frank likes Huggins Smith as well, I think, is what it looks like.
So quick question on NCI. When is this going to get going? When can people enroll? Is there a discount code? Like if I'm wanting to get enrolled today, like can I text Huggins Smith to like 343 to get a 20% discount?
We don't have any discounts set up, but I can tell you this. We are going to have introductory rates for our first several courses. We're getting things off the ground. We anticipate we're going to have some hiccups with our first couple of courses. So if you're willing to muddle through some of the hiccups that we're undoubtedly going to have technology-wise or something, you'll get a significant discount by being some of our very first students. Our first course is going to be either at the very end of July or the first week of August, but we will have it available for pre-purchase very, very soon. Somebody just posted scholarships. I haven't thought of that. It's not a bad idea. Maybe. I'll think about it.
Or do you think he's asking about scholarships, or he's just a really big fan of the song by Drake?
Yeah, question.
Anthony Hines, can you, is this a Drake reference, or are you asking, is there scholarships? If you could respond there.
Suggesting.
Okay, so he's
suggesting Drake.
Not, okay. Oh, sponsorship.
Oh, a suggested scholarship from Drake.
Got it. There you go.
Sponsorships. Yes, we do have sponsors. Our first course is being sponsored by Hail Trace and Company Cam. There's a few sponsorships that are still available. We also have some attorneys that are sponsoring Happy Hour because this one's going to be in person, our facility in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. And every night, after course is over, everybody's going to be out there. What are we going to do?
I think New Smyrna Beach got hail recently.
There has been hail out there recently. It wasn't very big.
I'm talking with a Atlanta/Nashville based development and property management company that has a large asset there in New Smyrna, and I think it got touched by a little 1.25 inch there, little Florida hail action
in New Smyrna.
Yep. So
I'll take a look. Frank might know. Frank is watching.
I can look at the old hail trace and see, but that's I think they got some, and oh man, somebody else got some down there that surprised me, and it was
got hit earlier this year.
Yeah.
In small pockets and things. Orlando gets hit fairly often, to be honest, but it's usually in the 1 to 1.5 inch range that Florida gets if they get it, and then it might be a little slushy.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest association until this year. One of the biggest association shingle claims I ever did was a hail claim in Florida as a PA. Question: so is Larry Bache going to be sponsoring anything?
We are talking to Chip about sponsorship. He would like to do some things. We haven't nailed anything down yet, but Chip has been very supportive of our endeavors so far.
I like that. If as long as Larry isn't involved, I'm fine to be involved. There's a known fact that from basketball, Larry and I have a mutual just disrespect for each other on the court, and we're just going to keep that going. Yeah. I'm kidding.
Right. Let me write that down. Larry is out.
Larry, you're out. Just like when you took that L. Just like when you took that L in basketball this last time. But yeah, so I'm pumped on this. I think you guys need to put out some links for people to register. Yeah, Larry, you're gonna have to provide some scholarships because you took that L.
This is actually a fun idea. I'd have to get Del Medico involved in this probably, so that he'd be willing to allow us to talk about it. But yeah, whoever loses, if they have to put up the money for scholarships to any of our courses, that'd be fantastic. Actually, put something on the line for this game.
I like
it
Anthony's
so
idea.
much better. I like it.
So quick question. Is there going to be like a conference or anything with this?
I'm not in the business of conferences right now. You know, that sounds like a lot of work. I'm already putting in way too many hours just trying to get this thing off the ground. A conference would be, I don't know, maybe down the road. It's not something I'm focused on.
And we don't want it to take away from our purpose, which is education, you know, and not that conferences don't, but we want it to be, this is educational. It's not like we're trying to push and just promote, you know, one thing or another.
There are plenty of great conferences in this industry. You know, we'll be at those conferences with a booth, I'm sure, and able to talk on stage at any given time. But I don't see us starting our own conference.
No, I don't either.
I think I'm conferenced out. I think I'm not going to do any for the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, that's why we're going to start going a little bit more. It's a little bit more breathing room when Pate's not there.
But I don't feel like that's a thing. I feel like I don't know.
There's sports digs at Remington, so he feels better at those conferences too.
No, I embrace it.
My hope is that I know that Ohio State is not going to beat Bama anytime soon. So my hope is that Remington comes to the good side. I'll embrace him as a Bama fan. You know what I'm saying? Like Remington's my friend, and I want him to feel like a winner during football season, not just when they play in the baby league. What's that, like the Big Ten or whatever? But then also when they play legitimate football teams, I want him to feel good about it. And I don't, like you don't have to. You can just divorce Ohio State and come over here.
To be fair, a lot of Bama fans are bandwagon fans, so you'd fit in.
Ah, there you go. Ooh, I like that. Thank you, Hat. Thank you, Hat, for a little blow to the side.
Yeah. But you know what? Bandwagon winners is what I like to call them. But anyway, so we've been going 53 minutes on this. We're about to get our last couple of questions. All the questions people have texted me have been massively inappropriate. So if you have something appropriate, please feel free to post in the comments here or text me independently, and we can get one.
Neil's got a question, and Neil's with MMA. Isn't that right?
This is your Neil,
yeah.
He is Mr. Townsend, former defense counsel and now managing partner of our Southeast Regional office.
Side. To the green side. Good for you, Neil.
Will NCI provide any specific designations for those who participate and complete certain courses or programs? We will have certifications. I don't know if we'll end up able to have a CPCU kind of a designation, if that's what you're asking, but we are actually looking into that kind of a thing. It isn't something that's an accredited program, the CPCU. It's just something that the national insurance commissioner, and NAIC, National Association of Insurance Commissioners, recognizes the CPCU program as a good source of information so that people can get licensed without having, or we will have CE credits for every state that allows us to offer them. So if you're coming into any course and you need CE credits, what we'll do is we'll apply for CE credits from the state that our attendees are coming in from. For that individual, because it costs us money to do that kind of thing. But we want to make sure that everybody has that availability. If you're going to spend the time and effort to join one of our courses, we want to make it worthwhile.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Neil, you would know this, and so would Pate, as being an attorney, is having a certification from National Claims Institute, putting that on your resume and then being in a deposition carries weight. It matters. You know, when we see Hague certification, it matters. All these certifications, all this education matters to people that are representing policyholders. And that's what we're going to be providing to them as well.
I mean, those things come from somewhere. So Hague originally offered their certification courses, and it didn't mean much at the time, but it became something that meant a lot over time because everybody wanted it to mean something and there wasn't something else available. Well, now there's going to be, even from our very first course, residential composition shingle NCI inspector certifications.
And I want to say this too, for I guess everybody that gets these certifications, it's not only important to have it behind your name, but also like abide by what those things mean. I think Remington can probably tell you how many times he sees somebody with a Hague certification and they put, Hague certified. And then he goes into a depot and they do something that is maybe against the suggestions by the Hague course. And then what do you do, Remington?
Yeah. I mean, you ask them why they're going against their certification that they just received. Why are they not following and abiding by that certification that was taught to them and that they're holding out to be, the Holy Grail, so to speak. So yes, I would certainly attack that.
Yeah. That's not like
it's a solid point.
That is an aside for those of you who get certifications to remember how to properly utilize those certifications to not get absolutely shredded by people like Neil and Remington.
And Anthony is kind of piggybacking off of a question that that you brought up before, and that's
this one.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I was looking at the supplemental
all the way down.
Yep, and I'll let Matt take this one.
We have a supplementing course. Actually, we will. We spoke with John Dye. He had me on his podcast yesterday. Mm-hmm. Spoke with him after and let him know everything that was going on. And we want to get the best of the best if we can. And as far as I know, John Dye is one of, if not the best supplementing instructor that I've ever met. He gets into what's reasonable, what's worth the time, and not just trying to teach every line item that should be in something. So I like that kind of mentality and that attitude, and he will be offering supplemental courses through NCI as a result. So yes is the correct answer.
Awesome. I would love in like starting December 28th of 21 to be involved with that somehow.
In the supplementing course?
No, it's any course you guys have. If I can provide value in any way, just drop me in. Would love to get involved with that somehow.
Absolutely.
Well, especially if
we were planning on having some discussions with you. Nailing you down to have a discussion these days is a little bit difficult. You're all over the place, man.
I feel like I'm
maybe not as much anymore. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm.
Yeah, I was about to say. My goal right now, I've got 3 kids. Like I was sitting at the house the other day and I was like, why do I ever leave here? What am I doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, how nice is this? I have like a bathtub. I can just get in there and like sit in it and do emails. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh,
what else do you want?
Yeah. It's Saturday night. Like I'm going to go to the Outback, come back home, tear up some emails and watch a little Netflix action and just enjoy life. Like, I'm going to San Antonio to the RCAT on Wednesday and Thursday. And I'm just like, okay, here we go. I'm going to see the same like 77 people. So if you're at RCAT and you don't know who I am or we don't talk, please come talk to me. If not, I'm going to spend the whole entire time talking to like Eric Hunter and the people from CAG. And then Eric and I are just going to go around and make fun of people, and it's not going to be like beneficial at all to why I actually need to go. So please, if you're going to RCAT, please come see me, introduce yourself, and be like, we've never met or we've never hung out, because that'll like make me feel like the trip is worth it, instead of just making fun of people with Eric Hunter, which is what I do all day over text message anyway.
There you go. Hey, I like Frank's comment. Let's talk NCI basketball team. We're going to wrap things up, everybody. But for the NCI, your first portion of being involved, Pate, is I just drafted you to the NCI basketball team. All right. So
is there an actual basketball team?
That's what Frank's calling for.
That would be interesting, though, to have intercompany basketball teams and actually have a real tournament industry wide instead of just at the one event.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
I challenged Matt Behrens to one-on-one in basketball. He told me that he doesn't play, but I feel like that's a lie. Deep down inside, Matt's a baller, and we're just going to have to see.
Well, when you're 6'3", you think you should be, a little bit of a baller.
I think people assume when you're tall that you know how to play basketball. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You can't comment, Matt.
It's like people assume that Asians are really good at math. It doesn't mean
Matt,
anything.
how tall are you without the beard?
I'm 5'10" and a half. Almost. I used to be 5'11".
5'9"?
I have shrunk.
So 5'9"?
I think I'm actually 5'10" now.
Uh-huh.
What about with the beard?
With the beard?
About 6?
Oh, with
6'1"?
the beard? Well, if I look backwards and the beard is up, it might be about 6.
Matt's just hating because he plays no sports ball.
No sports ball. It's all right, Matt. As long as we have a basketball team.
Well, Matt, do you watch football? Because the Crimson Tide will gladly have you as a fan as well. And then you can make fun of Remington with me for at least another 8 months.
There was a moment when I was watching.
Matt doesn't know what a touchdown is.
What's a touchdown? Is that when you hit that ball over the fence? There was a moment I was watching the Falcons. I was really into the Falcons, and then they blew it.
Yeah.
And then the Braves. I cannot handle watching the Braves get to the playoffs and lose in the first game anymore. There's something about Atlanta teams that makes me very, very sad as a sports watcher, and it just.
So you're a fair weather friend.
Did you ever watch?
So hard to hang in there. They make it to the playoffs and they burn themselves.
Did you ever watch the time that the Falcons made it to the Super Bowl? And during the Super Bowl, they were up by nearly, there it is, 25-3. I knew that was coming.
That's the one.
That was, Falcons fans. The Crimson Tide will take you too, and you can feel what it's like.
That's funny.
Shoot me a direct message on the gram, Pate G. Smith. Just add me on there. And we'll get you some Bama gear, and you can, you too can feel what it's like to drop dubs year after year.
Pate, I appreciate your time, man. I know you're busy as heck, and I really do appreciate your time this afternoon and interviewing Matt and I on National Claims Institute. Man, I'm pumped. I'm excited. Matt, any last words?
This is going to be something that we hope is very beneficial and somewhat groundbreaking. We're trying very hard to do something unique here. And the goal is to benefit the entire industry as a whole, everybody that's involved in it, so that, if we stop filing so many frivolous claims as an industry and start doing the right thing on our end, maybe it will entice the other side to start doing a little bit more of the right thing.
And if we adequately work the actual claims, too, that's not just frivolous, but adequately work with the other side. I was blessed to work with somebody that was high up at a TPA firm recently on a large loss. And I was like, wow, this is just so refreshing that, one, you have the authority to do what you want, and you know what you're talking about, and you're a nice person. And, no wonder you're very high up in this company. And he and I spent 2 days together at a loss, and, it was actually nice. And, that was I was just like, this is how it should be. But unfortunately, I would say 999 times out of 1,000, it's not. But yeah, I think this is awesome. I know I'm going to support it, even though Remington has his own law firm and he and I are like absolute arch nemesis of each other in business or whatever and enemies. But I will absolutely support this.
I appreciate it, bud.
Thanks, Pate.
Thanks,
hey,
man.
You make an excellent host. Do you want to sign us off as well?
Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Listen to this bull. As you know, this is my favorite show on the internet. If you have questions that we didn't get to, or you're watching this after, message Matt or Remington. If you don't have their direct phone numbers, I have them. Shoot me a message. I'll give you their cell phone numbers. And that way you have instant access to them. If you don't have my number, just add me on the gram again. I'll just post on there. I may just add their numbers on my next Instagram or Facebook post. So that'll be available for any questions you have. Sign up for NCI. If you are, anywhere and have a question, hit up these guys. Listen to This Bull is powered by C3, which is Matt Barron's company. And Matt lives in Texas, he claims, and it's like 12 minutes from my house, but I have yet to see him. So none of us actually believe you live here, Matt. Maybe you'll come over and hang out while I cook barbecue soon. So signing off, listen to This Bull. Everybody be good. Tip your bartenders, and we're out.
See you, buddy.